Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Gemini in October 2020. What is going on, Gemini? How are you guys doing? I hope that you are doing well. All right, friends, welcome to October. Hopefully, wherever you are in the world, you are safe, happy, healthy, and secure. Please continue to take very good care of yourselves and those that you know and love, as we are still very much in the middle of a pandemic, okay? Any announcements? No, but happy Halloween to anybody who will be celebrating. Again, please be safe in all your festivities. Take precautions. Be careful. You know, all that good stuff, all right? Gemini, let's go ahead and get into it. Anything you want from me, it is in the description box already, friends. If you're looking for the timestamp, it is down there. If you want to see the information that you need, if you want to purchase a personal reading with me, that information is down there as well. If you have a question before you place an order, just go ahead and email me at the same address, or email address, and I will answer you as soon as I can. And if you are interested in following me on Instagram, you can find that link below in the description box as well. If you're interested in doing donations to the channel, please use either the Cash App link below or the PayPal link below. I don't go live often enough on YouTube for that to really be a viable option. But if you ever catch me on live, feel free to do it there as well. It's not saying I don't accept donations through the Super Chat, but I don't utilize YouTube's live feature enough for that to be the easiest way to do donations, okay? But anyway, let's get into it. Outcome for Gemini in October 2020. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment, guys. If you want to show your support in those ways, that is also an amazing way to exchange good vibes with myself and yourself. All right, let's get into it. I want to see the outcome for Gemini in October 2020. Outcome for Gemini in October 2020, please show me. Ay, Dios mío. You don't want to talk. You don't want to show me your outcome. There it is. And I asked for it, of course it's going to fall to the floor. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Where did that card go? Almost under the table leg, so that's fun. There it is. It was reversed like that on the floor. So we're going to leave it like that, because that's the way they wanted it. Alright, and then one card came face down. Let's flip it. Alrighty then. Alright, Gemini, let's see what's going on. Oop, a little... it was probably fine the way it was. Anyway, let's get into it. Please show me where Gemini is in October 2020. Gemini in October 2020, please show me. Okay, thank you. Alright, Gemini, here we go. Coming into October, you come in with the Ace of Swords, or Swords. Truth and consequences is the phrase that they threw into my mind. Truth and consequence, truth and consequence. So for some of you, there are consequences to your truth. There are consequences that you are bringing or someone is bringing to you based on truthful statements or revelations. Or you're just being no nonsense about, you know, truth and expressions of it or understandings of your truth. Something like that. Some of you might be giving people, you know, the honest rundown of how you feel or think about a particular situation in your life or in the connection you share with other people or another person. This could be, you know, some very honest conversations, maybe a little stinging, like it hurts, saying some not so nice things to another person or hearing not so nice things come out of another person's mouth is what this feels like. It feels like really, in some cases, tasteless or tactless, or the tactic is simply to hurt, to maim, to scar another person, right? I mean, we are looking at a sword, and swords aren't, you know, well, in this day and age, I guess they are more so, but when swords were first invented and crafted, they weren't used for decoration. They were meant to kill people, right? So there's, and that's not me endorsing or predicting anybody's death, so let's not let's not take that, word for word or at face value, so to speak. But it feels like the intention of a conversation, the intention of words exchanged, the intention of someone's personal expression of what they feel is the truth, what they declare as their truth could carry hurtful intentions, right? It could, and that could be down to word choice, Put simply, you could tell someone, I think you're of low intelligence, or I think you're not that smart, versus you're a fucking idiot. I mean, which one? I mean, both have the same intention, to tell someone they're not a smart person, to tell someone that you don't value the way they think or what they're presenting in a situation. But one is just a little bit more of a word choices, thank you, that are meant to take someone off their game, or disrupt someone or hurt their feelings. You know what I mean? It's interesting that the Ace of Swords is coming out like this, because on its own, the Ace of Swords isn't so visceral. It's not so divisive, but I feel that energy here. I feel the energy of divisiveness, insults, or, airing so hard or falling so hard on what it means to quote unquote tell the truth that it can be hurtful to another person, right? There's a way to be truthful and honest with people, but still be respectful and or considerate of their feelings. Maybe that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling possibly a lack of consideration in how the other person can take the news or receive the dialogue. And I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. It's up for you to make these decisions. Please use your own discernment. But I feel as though where there could be more sensitivity and compassion and understanding for others in this situation, there is not. And that is done on purpose to undermine or take something away from the person who's hearing these words, who's the other participant in the conversation. I'm going to disarm you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to use these specific words and phrases or tone of voice to upset you, as to, make the conversation go my way. Or, and this is for, there's like two groups. That group is like being very divisive, very, very negative, right? Not utilizing this Ace of Swords in quote unquote the high vibe way, right? The other group is trying to use it in the high vibe way or utilize this energy in that way, but it's going too, again, beyond the consideration of another person. It's like telling the truth or speaking a truth and not caring about the consequences, right? Not caring about how another person can receive you. So it's kind of interesting. What else happens? Because that's really all I got. Interesting. As I say that, I look back down at the card and they're focusing my eyes on the crown. So for some of you, this could be in a quote unquote abusive power. Why am I saying that? Again, the crown. Crowns indicate in tarot not only some type of wisdom or mastery or some type of greater understanding. It also represents power, because we put crowns on queens and kings, right, in the tarot deck and in real life too. And so I get the sense that there could be someone who maybe in a work situation is berating their employees, and their intention could be to motivate, to get these people inspired to make sales or to retain clients or get to a certain goal. And like I said, the way you choose your words can have a certain effect on a person. Even though, like I said earlier, when you want to tell someone, I don't think you're that smart, you could literally say, I don't think you're that smart, or I think you're wrong about that. Have you, there's many ways you could do it. And one of the ways that someone might be choosing to motivate another person or try to get them to do a certain thing is actually berating them, is actually doing the converse. It's not actually helpful. If you want to encourage someone to expand their knowledge, you don't say you're a fucking idiot, because it's an insult. You're being abusive or very aggressive in your language with this person, Or if you're having an emotional reaction, you're not tempering yourself. So it's not a judgment from me. I don't know why this is coming out, but there is this sense that because of this crown, someone is in a position of power or influence, if not power, influence, to get a certain result. But the way in which they are seeking to do that is not correct. It feels very ill-advised, let's say it that way. Because someone is like, well, this is how this is how I talk, right? This is how I talk. And I say that myself, but I'm a mix of both. I can have, quote unquote highbrow conversation, and I can have really gutter conversations, or language that can go in both of those categories, right? I feel someone would be using a similar argument that I would use, but they don't have the highbrow to really back it up. They don't have that higher capacity for language, even though they think they do. Something like that. Or they just, have never been checked. That's another thing with people who are in positions of power or influence, that they can go unchecked in how they behave and how they talk to people. So that can talk to, no offense to anybody, a certain entitled sense of self. I'm the manager. I could talk to my employees any way I want to. Well, under law, you're not supposed to. But, go ahead, do you, Steve, or do you, Barbara, or whoever. You know what I mean? So anyway, communication, not really. Yeah, there it is. I gotta tell you guys, when I'm doing these readings, I'm like looking at this window over here. The shades are down because it's been a rainy day and I don't want to look at that. And I'm just like talking across the room. I'm not looking down here. I turn my eyes down here, and what do I see? Communication absolutely going wrong. So the way a discussion goes between two people, or like I said, maybe in an office or some type of work situation where you're in a meeting and somebody is like on a tirade and they're this is something that I can actually point to, because that really in the article that I read, some of you may or may not know this, and some of you may or may not care, but there's this whole thing with video games. There's like the streaming portion of video games. Streaming is a huge industry, right? And Twitch is the biggest one. For a while, Microsoft had Mixer, and there was leaked footage of one of Mixer's like top executives at a meeting, at a town hall or something like that, and she was using certain language and words that were meant to motivate. I think she was later quoted, or it was assumed, or it was said somehow that this was her version of motivation. And a lot of the workers who were there, who were witnesses, who sat through her tirade or her, not so subtle way of berating them, left feeling dejected and defeated. Now, why do I mention that? Because what happened to Mixer? Shortly thereafter, that town hall, the company went under, or was sold, or whatever the hell happened. Or I think they went into partnership with like Facebook Gaming or something like that. And who goes to Facebook to watch games? Nobody. So the business of that company wasn't cultivated well because of the culture of the company, the way their leaders led the team, the language that was used. Okay? And that's what we see here with the Five of Cups, possibly. Yeah, they're like, it's more than that. So what I see here is possibly the reaction of someone after this conversation, after this dialogue, after these words are exchanged, or in some cases, the words are just received. Because in some of your cases, as I was describing this card, it wasn't a two-way conversation. It feels like in some cases, it has built up to this tension point and somebody kind of explodes and they let all their rage out or all of their truth out, and it's not a good way to deliver a message. It's not constructive because, again, it's not a dialogue. It's not a conversation. In other cases, it is a dialogue and it is a conversation, but I'm feeling an impasse. I'm feeling misunderstandings. I'm feeling people, again, walking away with hurt feelings. Now, regardless of what happens or when it happens, again, somebody is not feeling too good about it. Crying about it, feeling as though an opportunity was lost with the spilled cups there on the table in the foreground, feeling as though, social entanglements and friendships and bonds are severed or broken or fractured in some type of way. And Gemini, I don't know where you are in this story. I gotta be honest, some of you are the person who's on a tirade and being a little bit too much, okay, a little OTT with some of the conversations. Others of you, this could be you, the Five of Cups, or there's like 3 or 4 people in this situation and there might be, you know, several sides to the story, so to speak. But regardless, things are not happy here. This is not a happy place with the Five of Cups. This is a place where we might have regrets and we might be crying over spilled milk and kind of not able to understand how we got to this point, how things got so bad. And maybe that's it. Oh, this is, okay, interesting. I mentioned that in, okay, so I just recently did a new video. This is, I'm not trying to cross promote, but they're connecting this for me. I recently started a new series. I might do it again in October, called The Distillery. It's up on the channel. It's in a playlist, I think, for collective reads or something. And in there, the Five of Cups was talked about, and I used the word chronic pain or chronic something, depression, anxiety, what have you. And when anything is chronic, it means it's on a cycle, right? It means it repeats. It means it has this ability to just constantly be there, or it reappears with certain frequency. And that could be what's going on here. There could be, okay, there could be a person in your life, Gemini, who really goes on these long, or these bursts of, well, I'm just speaking my truth, and this is just how I talk, and if you can't handle it, you're just a P-U-S-S-I, a P-U-S-S-Y, you know? I don't know why why am I spelling that? Somebody doesn't like that. Maybe that's why I'm spelling it, because I say that, I would say, but I spelled it out, all right? So, like, somebody could be saying that to another person, and that could be, I don't know what the context is, it's not clear, because all of you are living different experiences, but it feels like really it's debasing another person. Because, again, maybe it's a work situation. I don't know where that shit flies, but I'm pretty sure most HRs are not having that. At least it's in their language. At least they have it, you know, technically written down in their handbooks of conduct and all that shit, so that when if it comes to litigation, they're protected. But I feel there's like a manager, a leader, some type of mentor who speaks that way to other people as a means to motivate them. And sometimes it works. In certain sectors, you know, not to call anybody out and not to make any stereotypes, but I'm assuming in the corporate world, it's not really permissible. But in something like entertainment, it's probably a little more permissible or normal, right? If you don't make this deal, you're a P-U-S-S-Y, you know? And there's like all this like attacking of another person's character is what that feels like. And that feels regular. And that's the other thing. It doesn't even have to be business. This could be friends. This could be family, for God's sakes. This could be some type of commitment. Business commitment, love commitment, what have you. And again, if you're talking like that to your partner, what the fuck are you doing? But anyway, chronic. It happens frequently. Or, if not always in the same situation, someone always finds themselves in similar situations where people take advantage of them, or this is interesting. That's a defense. I quickly got somebody's defense. Well, they can't handle it. They're too sensitive. No, friend. No. Because did I say that? Was that here or was that in the reading that I just did? Oh shit, I can't remember. I think it was here, where I said lack of compassion or understanding or something like that, but that's what that means. And someone takes their own, I don't know who this is. Someone takes their own lack of compassion and understanding and throws it back on another person. Well, you just can't take the heat. You can dish it, but you can't take it. Or I'm just speaking my mind. Excuses. You are just not a compassionate person. You are just not somebody who is caring of other people's feelings and emotions and sensibilities. Not to say it should always be that way, and not to say anybody, you know, I think there's a little bit of a fine line there. But when you can see that someone is in distress, that's the thing about the Five of Cups. Oh, they're reminding me. But in this sense, it feels like this is obvious. In this reading, it feels obvious. In that distillery video that I did like yesterday or the day before or whatever, it feels like it was less obvious. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Of course, apply everything to your life. But somebody here is suffering and they're not in a good emotional space after or during or in repeated conversation with another person. There's just ill It's not well. It's there we go. There's a lack of wellness regarding speech. Receiving it, listening to it, being attacked by speech is just it's a lot. And normally with the Five of Cups, we talk about silver linings because there's two cups that remains upright. And that's the silver lining, is like not all is lost. So it could be that someone just doesn't have the confidence or the know-how how to really make the best of this situation or turn. I don't want to make this person a victim, whoever they are, but they might be playing that card a little bit. You know, they might be visualizing or conceiving of themselves in that way when really that's not the truth. And that's really all they're going to give me on that, is what they're saying. Okay. So to further this BS kerfuffle or just hot mess of communication that we have going on here, we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. I sense here cat's out the bag. Yes, cat is out the bag. So okay, this has been happening, and I don't want to make any commentary on it, but if you know me, you kind of probably already know what my feeling is. What I'm sensing here in that sense, in the business world, or even in a domestic space, where someone is using abusive language, right? Or they're being really aggressive in their language, or they say the wrong thing. In this day and age, everybody's carrying a camera in their pocket, right? So I'm sensing here that maybe someone's caught on tape saying the wrong things and or being abusive in their language. Not miscommunication, because I feel most people, when they're in those moments, they mean what they're saying. They know what they're saying. I already said that with the Ace of Swords. They know to say to someone, "You're fucking stupid," is meant to hurt, is meant to insult the person and make them feel less than, as opposed to saying, you know, well, I think you should really think about educating yourself on this topic because I think you're misinformed. That's how you could say that in a little bit of a more quote unquote highbrow way, but to call someone a fucking idiot is a quicker way to get there. And they're caught on camera saying such things, or they're recorded saying such things, right? And that is quote unquote miscommunication. Again, it's not miscommunication as in, oh, you didn't understand me. No, we all understood you. You just chose to use those words. You didn't have to use those words, but you did. And now this is what happens. Your choice of words, your choice of conversation or topic of conversation or ways of describing whatever your truth is gets you into some hot water. Eight of Wands in reverse is like damage control. So what am I sensing? If I'm talking about somebody in a workplace, they're going to have to do damage control to keep their job. Now, again, I'm not trying to politicize and I'm not trying to make any social commentary here, but in this day and age, you got to watch your mouth. Is that correct? That's up for you and anybody else to decide, your personal opinion. But that's the reality that we're in. You can't do that. You can't abuse your position with the crown again encircling the blade of that sword. You can't just rely on the fact that you're the manager, that you're the CEO of, that you're the founder of, that you're the head of the household, that you're the mother or the father in the house, that you're the older brother or sister. You cannot just assume because of your position that people aren't going to check you. Somebody here is getting checked on the language that they've used, the words that they've used, the ways in which they want to communicate their truth. And I quote it because I really feel, I already said this is not being utilized in the high vibe way for many. And if it is being used that way, the words are still not correct. Someone isn't as much of an ace with the words as they think they are. They're really not. All right? So somebody's getting checked with that Eight of Wands in reverse. And maybe it's being backed up by the Five of Cups person. Maybe they can stand as a witness to these things. Did so-and-so say this? Maybe there wasn't a recording, or maybe it's hard to see the person or hear the person, but here's somebody who was in the room and they can vouch for that is what was happening. Those were the words that were exchanged. And that's, oh, wow. Okay, so this is very specific, and it's just an example. I don't even think I'm telling anybody's story, but just to further illustrate what I'm talking about. If we're talking about a domestic situation where we have parents, male or female, it doesn't matter which gender, and one of them is abusing the partner, right? This could be a child. Just an example. I'm not predicting anything, but this could be a child who is witness to their parents having arguments, to their parents having some type of altercation verbally, mostly verbally. If it's physical, that's a whole different ball game, and that ups the severity of the situation. Because still emotional and mental and verbal abuse are still very true, and still very serious situations to be living in. But this could be the kid who's really distraught over their parents and their family going through all this dysfunction. But the saving grace, or the silver lining, is that they can, if called upon, and again, I don't know how legal it is because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But it's like this person can basically give witness to the abuses and the misconduct that's going on, right? No matter how severe it is, no matter what area of life it is, right? And that would make them sad, because what kid 9 times out of 10 wants to see their parents fighting, wants to see and experience all kinds of awful arguments, right? No kid is like, oh my God, I can't wait till my mom gets home so she can, yell at my dad and tell him he's a piece of shit. I just can't wait. That's the highlight of my day. Most children don't have that thought, no matter how awful either the parents are or both of them are. Right? Most want to have a happy, loving home. But if you're not having that experience and you have to bear witness to it, you can end up really giving validity to something where other people might not believe. We hear those stories all the time, public personas or leaders of a certain, let's say a church or something like that. And again, it's not an attack, and I'm not sensing anything, but this is just an example where those scandals come out. I never knew that he was doing that to his wife and his kids. I never knew that she was like that. This is the person who can tell you, oh yeah, they always been like that. Behind all those closed doors, this is exactly what was going down. And, the immediate response of the person who is accused and the people who are going to be called a liar. Oh my God. Here we go. Defensive posture. Everybody get their defenses up. 7 of Wands. So the person who is the abuser, the person who is going on these tirades, the person who is using their language and their behaviors in the most malicious of ways or the most disregarding ways. If it's not malicious, you just disregard. Again, you have no compassion. You have no understanding of other people's sensibilities, and you frankly don't give a shit about them, right? So this person is automatically defensive. I said what I said, or you're taking that out of context, and no, that's not what I didn't mean it when I said that, or blah, 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 blah. You're on tape, sir or madam. Like, why don't you just give it up, right? But they're going to defend themselves. And then at the same time, I feel as though this person can turn into an accuser, right? They're trying to make a mockery of me. They're trying to get me fired. They don't want me to do X, Y, Z. So they're making up these lies. They're making up all these allegations. What they're saying isn't true. They're slandering me, blah, 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 blah. And it's a shit show. So that then puts this person here or other people in similar situations to the 5 of Cups on the defensive as well. And maybe this person doesn't want to defend themselves, going back to that issue of the children. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't work in family law. I have no true knowledge of it. But the little bit that I do know, you cannot, number one, put children on a stand. I believe that's true. But again, that would put that kid in an awkward situation, even if it never went to court, never went to any official channels, right? And this was just all in the family. It was just all the dysfunction that goes on between the family members, the extended family, the cousins, the aunties, the uncles, all that shit, right? You got people asking the kid, so tell me what happened. Like, they don't want to relive that horror. They don't want to relive having to tell you how their parents were going at it like cats and dogs. But someone comes along, whether it's an official from the court, Child Protective Services, or just a concerned, auntie or grandparent or whoever coming in and say, tell me, little Billy, tell me, little Sally, tell me, little Rashad, whatever the kid's name is, what happened? Who started it? How did and who said what? And all these questions coming towards somebody who doesn't want to answer, who possibly never wanted to say anything in the first place, but they did, or they feel obligated, or, cat's out of the bag. Maybe in some cases, maybe this has gone on, like I said earlier, I used the word chronic. And again, I don't want to cross promote, but it might appeal to you, Gemini, because of why I created the distillery and what I'm using it for. Watch that video, and if it's of interest to you, go ahead and watch it. But the word, again, chronic, happening on a repeated basis. It happens. This could be sort of like a last straw, or like an attempt to break a cycle on the part of someone, and they might regret it because because they're going to be accused of being a troublemaker, of making up lies and fabrications and stuff. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? And then maybe they present like a recording, or maybe they present, certain, audio recordings of people. Well, that's illegal. You can't do that. And whatever the excuses are. And it just makes everybody involved super, super defensive. It's terrible. It's a terrible situation to live through. It's a terrible situation to put your loved ones through, or to experience if you're not the one putting anybody through it, Gemini. Like I said, in this energy, first of all, those that are watching, you're probably not the ones putting anyone through this, but I gotta tell you, you got some Gemini friends or cousins, or cousins 2 or 3 times removed, who are Geminis, who are doing this. I gotta tell you. And I've been saying that for Gemini energy for like several months, where some of you're the recipients of what I'm talking about, but other members of this collective Gemini energy, they're the perpetrators of this. No doubt in my mind. I don't even know any Geminis personally, but I can tell you what I feel. There are Geminis in this world who are so worked up, who are so enraged, or they feel they have the right, the power, the influence to do what they want. They're in a position that allows them to do and say what they want, with no regard for other people. And that's not a normal quality of a Gemini, but I can certainly see it. Go and leave it at that. So what else happens for Gemini? Yes, everybody here is making decisions. Everybody here is making decisions. 2 of Wands. Everybody here is making their own mind up, choosing how they're going to behave, choosing how they're going to show up and take action in the situation. Some people, maybe they're not going to speak. Maybe someone has the sort of the insight or the input that would kind of set the record straight. Maybe somebody has details, has intel that would expose someone's misdeeds or misuse of language, miss whatever of communication. Again, maybe in this 5 of Cups, there's a chronic cycle of verbal, emotional, and mental abuse going on in a domestic situation, in a work situation, and not near a worker or family member wants to speak up. That's their choice. I'm not here to listen. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I don't wish and hope that people who are in abusive cycles stay there. That's ridiculous. That is such a disgusting position to hold. What I wish is that people make up their own minds. And some people, when it comes to making up their minds, taking action, they choose not to act. So that's a reality. And for various reasons, that is the reality. That is the choice that someone will make, is to not step forward, to not speak their truth or speak a counter truth to what someone has said. If allegations come out, again, like in a public scandal, a local scandal at like your local high school, or again, your church, or your, local favorite, Shake Shack or something like that. No offense to Shake Shack. That's a huge corporation, and I don't have partnership with them clearly, but if you're working for a corporation and your store manager is a piece of work, you're kind of like possibly fearful of losing your job because of retaliation, right? And there are HR protocols in place that are set up that are supposed to protect employees from that. But most of us know the reality. If you go throwing accusation at super powerful people, or people who have influence, or people who have a mastery, an unfortunate or possibly ironic mastery of the verbal argument, you might end up hurting yourself. losing your job, losing your livelihood, possibly getting blackballed out of an entire industry. Does that make sense? So listen, Two of Wands normally is about, I'm going to take action. I'm going to be proactive. I've decided and I'm moving forward in a positive way. I got to tell you, someone is deciding not to move an inch. Someone is not going to do a goddamn thing. And that's their right. That is their right. Do I like that? Would I encourage that? No. If you're experiencing abuse or you're witnessing people abuse other people and take advantage in a situation, speak the fuck up. That would be my advice. But I gotta tell you, in this energy, somebody's not gonna do that. Somebody's not gonna do that. It's their right, it's their life path. It's what they choose for themselves. And again, going back to what I was going to say, they might have valid reason. Again, retaliation. If you're living in an abusive situation, this again, I'm not okay with this, but I understand the rationale. If I say anything, I'm going to make it worse for myself. So let me not say anything at all. Or there's another group where you might not do anything on the surface, but it's like a sly, undercover way of doing something. So again, you might not speak out verbally, but you might let the technology speak. Oh, suddenly there's a leak to the corporate office that one of the regional managers of so-and-so Inc., so-and-so Incorporated, so-and-so LLC gets sent back to the home office, and we see one of our employees, one of our managers going on a tirade, and it's an anonymous tip. Something like that could happen. Anonymous tips, leaks, whatever way you want to think of it. That could be a choice that somebody makes. But to outright speak, that's not somebody's choice. Because of fear of retaliation, because of fear of consequences that will befall them personally. They've possibly already lost something. Why do I want to lose everything? Now, the perpetrator, quickly, I'm going to mention them because they're here too with the Two of Wands. They're just choosing to do what they're doing. They're very selfish, whoever this person is. Or if not selfish, they have a limited view. They don't see long term, they see short term. They are not thinking of the implications of what they're doing today and how that can add up to, or how that can lead up to any type of action that or consequence that they could face months, years down the line. And that's the world that we live in, whether you like that or you don't like that, whether you agree with that or you don't agree with that. That is the reality that we live in. What you say today can come back to bite you within a year or two. And that's true. And again, whether you agree with it or not, that is the reality. If you want to change that, that's another story, that's another reading. But that's kind of how this person doesn't think. They don't think about that. They think today. What am I saying today? Am I speaking my truth today? Am I getting results that I want through this conversation within the next few days or weeks? Yes, then that's what I'm going to choose. Not thinking of, again, what can happen past those few weeks, past those, couple of months, going into the next year or the next year and the next year, right? So that's them. Final card in your main spread. Very much a curveball as I see what it is. I'm curious how I'm going to be able to interpret it, because knowing what this is, I'm just like, how does this fit into the situation? Ace of Cups. Oh, okay. So for some, where again, if it's like a domestic thing or even a work thing, a personal thing where the people involved, Gemini, or they know you, whichever way this is going, there is some desire for peace, right? Not wanting to fight, not wanting things to go the route that they are going or they have gone, right? Not wanting there to be that bad blood, not wanting there to be these arguments and these threats and these, how dare you say that? Like all these accusations, you're a liar, no, you're a liar, all that shit. Somebody here, or there's an energy that says no more of that. There's no need for that, right? But I don't think anybody actually is able to get this on the table. Like Ace of Cups can be apologies, can be love offers or offers of peace, offers of reconciliation and trying to make amends, right? new beginnings, new emotional beginnings, clean slates, things like that. I don't think this is actually possible because of everything that is around it is full of difficulty, full of strife. This might be the hope that someone has in the back of their mind, a hope that they hold dear in their heart. But let me tell you, they're like shaking my head for me. They're like, nope, nuh-uh. It's drowned out. Like, I don't know what reading I said that in. Was it in the distillery? I don't think so. Or maybe it was. I don't know. But I had a scenario in the readings, in one of the readings I did for September, whether it be the distillery or one of the individual zodiacs. But I had a vision then, and I'm having it again here, where if this is a kid or someone who doesn't have power or authority or any type of influence in the situation, they are drowned out because of all the other arguing parties involved, whether that be adults, and there's just a kid in the room, stop yelling, or we're talking about a grown person who doesn't have any voice of their own. They're afraid to speak, or they don't, whenever they speak, they're drowned out, they're ignored. But that could be what one person in the situation is hoping. They're hoping for peace, they're hoping for calmness, and anytime they try to present that, offer it, because what do we see? We do see sort of this mystical or very, we just see this arm extending this cup, right? So they might offer it. Maybe this is disagreements between two friends, and there's a third friend trying to be in the middle as a mediator. Let's patch this up, guys. Let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just make this, get over this disagreement. And neither side is here to hear that. The person who's trying to mediate, they're shunned. They're rejected. Shut up, Billy. This is between me and Martha. Or whatever. Whoever's involved, right? There's just a no. There's a total rejection to the Ace of Cups. This is okay. This reading, someone in this energy, the perpetrator, we will call them, whoever they are, you, someone else, I don't care. They have a huge ego. Not ego in I'm the best type of ego. Ego in like almost a psychological or psychiatric understanding of ego, and a woo-woo spiritual understanding of ego. I operate based off of primal instincts. I operate based off conditioned instincts or things that have been conditioned into me, coping mechanism, defense mechanisms in me. This is someone here is that. Their ego, which aims to protect. The ego is just a piece of our psyche that aims to protect us. It's a part of our human experience that wants to protect us. You can choose to protect yourself in so many ways. Some people's way of protecting themselves is to crawl up into the fetal position and let life take blows at them. Another defensive posture is to be offensive. That's what this person does. They use extreme offense as a protection mechanism for themselves. I'm not a professional. Please don't take that to the bank. Please don't, take that as some type of diagnosis. Please see a professional of the mental health professions, right? But that's what that feels like. It feels like somebody uses offensive tactics and aggression and language and lots of, strong, and they're basically protecting themselves, possibly because they're a little weak. And that's not a read, that's not a judgment. That's what the ego is. The ego protects your weakest, most vulnerable parts of yourself. Outcome for October, 7 of Cups in reverse. So listen. Viable options are running in short supply in the situation for everybody involved. I feel a lot of people's feet are going to be put to the flame here, and a lot of people are going to feel really under pressure or influenced to do things that they don't necessarily want to do, or make choices that they don't necessarily want to make, or some people downright have just made the not so great choice. I don't want to say wrong, but the less ideal choices have been made or will be made, right? And that could be because of pressure. That could be because of reaction versus response. I feel panic here from several angles. You know what this is? And I don't know that it's like, it's like two people are playing chess, but one or both people are playing at the speed you would play the game of checkers. Now, if you're like a fantastic chess player, you could play at that speed. But, checkers, you can play that fairly quickly. The little pieces, the little discs, they only have one move: go forward and jump. Go forward, jump. That's it. With chess, each piece has a particular way that it can move across the board, and it has a certain value to it. In checkers, all the pieces are valued the same, just about, right? So that's what I feel like. I feel like someone here is playing chess with the tactics, with the tactics and the speed of checkers. That's not advised. That's not smart. I laugh because what was I saying earlier when we started? That's not smart. I could have said that in a totally different way, could I not? But that's how I chose to say it. That's not smart. To put it in this person's language, that's a fucking idiot move. No offense to anybody, but like, that's, you see what I mean? So, oh man, that's all I can say. I think that's all that's there. Where someone may have been, it could be impulsive, because if you look at her face in the upright, she looks a little worried. She looks pensive over what she's deciding, right? But, so that could be it. It could be that somebody doesn't, again, chess and checkers, someone doesn't take the time to think it through. Think about what you're saying. Think about how you're saying it. You're just going for the gusto. You're going for the jugular. And there are 3 aces here now, so that's very interesting. So this situation, Gemini, that you're dealing with, and the world right behind it, that makes a lot of sense. This is a new, something new is coming here. There's a new precedence being set here. There's new expectations here. Possibly someone's encountering new circumstances that they didn't know about, right? So Ace of Wands is the overall energy, and that speaks to passion, that speaks to bright ideas, that speaks to all kinds of inventive or industrious language and endeavors, right? Or again, ideas. Like, you know what I'm sensing? I'm sensing like somebody, this is just an example. And again, it's because of this newness, this new cycle, right? This new cycle with the World card. I don't usually address the cards that come behind, the overall energy, but this one is speaking to me. When you see the World card, we're talking about endings and new beginnings, right? Something is done, and then we quickly get into a new cycle, a new way of things operating. And you've got 3 aces out here, so that speaks to it. But I feel I'm speaking about what has already happened. The new beginning has already happened, and now we're seeing the results of that new beginning. And what am I sensing? Or rather, let me give you an example. This happened because I used to work retail, right? Like so many people in this world. And I worked for a company that brought in a new CEO and had all these culture changes in the company, and here's what we're gonna do, and here's how we're gonna team build, and instead of morning meetings or instead of like once a week we do this element in the morning meeting, no, it's going to be in the morning meetings every day. You know what happened? That brought morale down. That made people more skeptical and ornery and all kinds of just like, no, like culturally it just shifted it. It didn't demoralize people, but I felt in the time with the people I spoke to, it brought up a lot of like sarcasm in people. Because here comes this new bigwig from another company changing how the corporation is going to work and the culture of the workers is going to get along. And it was just like all for nothing, because eventually that company went under anyway. So that's what I'm sensing. I'm sensing somebody is put in a position to make these incredible changes or take on a new opportunity with those 3 aces and the World card behind the Ace of Wands, to make a new stamp on things. But the stamp is boo-boo. The stamp is trash. It's not a good execution of a plan. Playing chess like you're playing checkers. Gemini, that's the reading. If it resonated, please leave a like. If you want to comment down below, let me know specifically how this resonated. That would be super cool. Thank you very much. Feel free to share the video with other people. Let them know that you like my work or that this particular reading has a specific message that you think is important to them. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, my friends, please consider subscribing. Gemini, my darlings. You guys have had such crazy readings over the past few months. Possibly also in 2019 from what I remember. Anyway, if you want to get at me for a personal, again, look down below in the description box. Hit me up. If you have questions before you place an order, just go ahead and email me at the same address, okay? I'll be back soon to do those mid-October readings. Until then, my friends, I thank you so much for watching. Take care.